You're listening to the Women in Cybersecurity podcast, where global voices meet to inspire, inform, and ignite change in the world of cyber. Hosted by Yuri Diogenes, Alexandra Francu, and myself, Yulia Iancu, we bring you real stories, expert insights, and bold conversations from the front lines of cybersecurity. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome. Today, we want to thank you for being with us. We're excited to share yet another episode of inspiring conversations with women in cybersecurity, about leadership, about success stories. We are your hosts, still in the same group, Yulia, Yuri, and Alexa. And this is our first episode of 2026, also the 12th episode of the Women in Cybersecurity series. As usual, Alexa will now give you some more details about our guest, Miri Peer. She is a Director of Product Management at SentinelOne. So, Alexa, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and let's say again, Happy New Year. Our guest today is Miri Peer, Director of Product Management for Endpoint Security and Mobile at SentinelOne. Miri has spent almost 2 decades in cybersecurity, leading products that protect organizations across endpoint, mobile, and cloud. Before joining SentinelOne, she led endpoint and mobile product management at Deep Instinct, and she played a huge role in building Microsoft Defender security portfolio. With roots in software engineering and a career spent turning complex security challenges into practical solutions, Miri is a powerful example of women leading the way in cyber, helping us secure our future one woman at a time. So thank you for joining us, Miri. To the audience, please apologize for my voice. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, everyone, and thank you very much for having me here.
Well, it was great that you agree to be here with us, Miri. Great to see you again after some years that we haven't seen each other. And I will start with the first question. And I think that this question is an important one because you are in product management, but you are also in cybersecurity, and you've been doing cybersecurity for a long time. In terms of product management and cybersecurity, you are hiring people, you are conducting interviews and everything. When you are looking into skills, do you prioritize cybersecurity skills or product management skills, or is like 50-50?
Well, I think it's a combination. So on one aspect, it's always good to have people that comes from the field. It's easier for them to ramp up because cybersecurity at the end of the day is a complex world. It combines a lot of understanding of the landscape and the customer and the adversary. But on the other hand, it's always important to also have people that come with product management skills because in this complex world, you need to have good customer understanding, good communication skills, and also be able to work with a lot of function, whether it's engineering or research team. So I would say that I'm looking for both.
I'm just curious to learn a bit more about you and what do you do in your current role. So for our audience, would you mind briefing us a bit into what a day in your life looks like and what would be some of your general accountabilities and responsibilities?
Of course. So for the almost year and a half or even more, I've been the Director of Product Management in SentinelOne. I'm responsible for the core business, which is the Endpoint Security. That's the bread and butter of SentinelOne, which is one of the leading companies in this area. So me and my team, of course, we're responsible to protect millions of endpoints around the world from malware activities, both on the endpoints, various operating system, and also on the mobile. So my day is very diverse, right? It's including working on new features with my team, including working on new initiatives, new innovation, always keep an eye on what's going on the landscape, what's going in the industry, and making sure that we build both for innovation and both for, of course, addressing customer needs.
Well, because you've been working in the field for a long time, have you always knew that, or actually not always, but how did you get into cybersecurity during your career? Was it something that you wanted? Was it something that you slowly went in because of the roles? So I'm curious about that.
Yeah. So I think it starts far back. I always had a passion for math. I've been a very good student at school, and I liked math very much. I finished it like 2 years earlier. So when I had to study in university, I knew that I wanted to study something with math, but I also wanted something practical. So I went to learn math and computer science in the university. So I finished, and I actually started as an engineer in a startup company. And as year goes by, the company was acquired by Microsoft, where I basically transitioned into product management. And even today, and also back then, kind of the Israeli side for Microsoft was almost all about security. So I was kind of growing with the side, moving from one project to the other in the cybersecurity space, and I found it like fascinating. So that's how I rolled and kind of like continued my career in the cybersecurity world.
That's awesome. And at that time, you were at the Defender for Endpoint, right, Miri?
Yes, for many years I was in Defender for Endpoint in the early age, even before Defender was part of the operating system. And I could really see kind of the evolution of the product, but not only the product, but kind of the entire cybersecurity space, how we evolve from like a signature base to more advanced security, where we, embed machine learning and later deep learning and AI these days. So it was very interesting to see the evolution and to be part of it.
Yeah, yeah. And now it goes back full circle because you are back to Endpoint. You went to cloud security with the AI just
Yes.
sent the Defender for Cloud. Now you're back to Endpoint. So I think that the question that I have is, when you look back from the time of Defender for Endpoint and now, did the threat landscape change a lot, or foundation is pretty much the same but just new attack vectors?
Yeah, I think that I don't have to say pretty much the same. The technology changed, right? We're using AI, the adversary using AI, so we're like in the next level. But it's kind of the same game of the defenders versus the adversary. But I think that the technology changed much, and it's our responsibility as defenders to, always be one step in front of them and to make sure that it becomes very complex and we have the different layers of security so we can really provide like good protection for our customers.
Yes. So you probably heard in our about you introduction that we have this motto: securing our future one woman at a time. So when you think about this next generation of women entering this cybersecurity field that is so broad, what do you feel that we should be doing differently in order to open more doors for women out there to have the courage to tackle this field, and have the proper resources to feel empowered enough to enter this field?
Yeah. So I think it's around awareness and like presence of women in the industry. So I think that we should kind of raise more awareness. It should become more common that there is like powerful and leading women in this kind of position. For me in personal, where I look around me and I see women leading in cybersecurity and strong women, then that's for me, that's an inspiration. So I think that this should be kind of and all these forums, even this Women in Security, and there's like others, I think all of them kind of bring more awareness and encourage more women to go into this field. Because I think that today, in most areas, there is like the same opportunities. It's kind of a matter of decision and awareness for women to go in this field, which today are more man dominant by men.
So to summarize, you think that awareness is the key aspect?
An example of other women in this field. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
I like that you mentioned strong women joining in this or being a skill, yes, not being a skill, being necessary in this field, and that's true, especially in the technical field. And I want to correlate with that. What kind of barriers or enablers do this being strong as a woman help, especially in the leadership roles?
Yeah, I think that I don't know if it's specifically for women, but be comfortable to speak up, to make your voice heard. I think that's important. I can say that like early in my career, I think that I felt that I had like less confidence. Many times I was the only woman in the room, and I think that that's common. Like I hear it from other women as well. So speak up. You're not, don't have the feeling that others are smarter than you. And I think with that, like with this kind of action, then you can actually make an impact, and that's very important in my opinion. And of course, it's come sometimes over time, but just there.
I like that a lot, Miri.
Yeah, following up on Yuli's and Alex's question about women in cyber in general, I always admire the Israeli marketplace in terms of balance, because when I went to Microsoft in Israel, I could see a lot of women in tech in general. There is a lot of women working in the field, and I think that the proportional between Israel and other countries, even Israel usually has more women in cyber and in tech in general. Why you think is that? Do you think it's because of the military?
I think that's a good point. I think that probably yes, because there is like, as you mentioned in the military, there is division, and women can serve as well. But I also think that science and math in school in Israel is quite popular, and maybe that also can be a factor. But even today, like in my team, I have only like 2 women, like 8 men. So there is a balance, but we're still a minority.
Is your team split across Europe or US, or how is it?
Yes, we're very, in general, we're a very global company. But yes, across the US and across Czech Republic and Israel.
Mhm. I'm curious about your beginnings. As you already mentioned, right? And wow, impressive that you put a great focus on science and math in school. Probably I would have been a terrible student back in my time. But what do you think are some of the elements that helped you build that confidence, that support system as you evolved and matured in the individual that you are today?
Yeah. I think I would divide it first like to personality, because I think that like I always like to challenge myself. I always like to be successful in what I do, be first in class. So it has some of personality, but it also goes, I think, with the great leaders and great managers that I had along the way, which also helped me to develop my career, and also great colleagues that I had on the way. So it's always a complex. I really feel that I was fortunate to work in such great environments along the years. So it's a combination. But I had the opportunities. I had the opportunities to grow myself, to develop, and to grow my skill set over the years.
Miri, have you noticed any differences in how a diverse team approaches security challenges? Do you have some example?
Yeah. So I think diversity is right. Like it's beyond women and men. It's diversity in general. It can also be, same gender, but people from different angles. But I think it's very important, like as you mentioned, to have a diverse team, especially like in cybersecurity. So even when looking at my team, I mean, it's I can have one person that is very focused on the threat landscape, and his background is very much from being a CISO, and it's like a very tech savvy. And then I can have another person which is more around processes and can work better on how do we align the team to get things done. And then, you know, we can have another person which is more focused on AI activities, which is very important these days. So it's a mixture, and every person kind of brings his own experience and his own point of view, which is and his own skill set, which is very important to make sure you have a well-rounded team.
Miri, how was the transition between IC, because when you left Microsoft you were a PM, and now you are a director? How was this transition to manage a team, a global team? Was easy? What were some of the challenges that you faced and some of the skills that you had to acquire?
Yes. I think that it was enlightening because being a leader is around like empowering your people and help them grow. It's not about like how brilliant you are as an individual. It is about how you can basically bring a team into be fully functional. And this journey to see how basically you can build a team that's functional and can deliver, I think that's very, very enlightening. And I very much enjoy for the last 5 or 6 years that I'm like in this kind of position. And of course you grow in that. It's also like it's a different career path, and you have a lot to learn on the way. You make mistake, you learn from that. But I think that as a whole, it's like it's really amazing experience to be a manager. Not because you're a manager, it's because of the theme that you are able to lead and grow and to enjoy the people that you work with and enjoy their success and their growth. And for me, it's very fulfilling.
But there was anything specifically that when you were doing this transition that you were like, oh, I was not expecting this. I need to learn about this more and to deal with this type of situation. Or for you, it was very smooth transition, very natural.
I actually felt it was natural, to be honest. I think that like it was for me it was actually natural. First I moved from Microsoft. I moved to a startup company called Deep Instinct, where I had to establish a new group of PMs. So there I had to recruit a team. I kind of recruited and built a team of 5 PMs. And I had to build like all the foundations of the processes and how were we going to do planning and how we'll work with engineering. And it was very interesting for me. When I moved to SentinelOne, of course, it's a much bigger company, so it was different scale. But still, it was very interesting. I had their different challenges of again working in big organization, in a platform, different division that you need to work with. So different challenges, different companies.
But all natural. That's great. Yeah.
It's natural, but of course you evolve, you learn on the way. As I mentioned, yeah, you grow with a team, you grow with a role.
I think there's one thing in common that we've noticed throughout all the guests that came to our show is that the need for having a mentor in someone's career is undeniably something very important, and I'm glad that you highlighted that. Also, I admired how you looked at your team as the kind of manager who would map the strengths of someone to the business opportunities depending on each unique personality that your team has. I'm just curious if maybe you can highlight some of the challenges that you faced when becoming a manager, or maybe when entering this field altogether, cybersecurity. Anything in particular, maybe any event that you remember as being very deeply rooted in your memory that you want to highlight?
Yeah. I think that most of the challenges actually that I experience is more around like organizational challenges. How do you make things happen? How do you fulfill like all the plans that your team has, and how do you make them to execute? I think it's more around, like I mentioned, like organizational challenges rather than like cybersecurity specific challenges. Because I think like one of the main responsibilities, among other, is actually to fulfill like what your to unblock things for your team, to make sure that the organization is fully functional. So I think that for me, like most challenging was like, how do you work efficiently with other division to make this whole system work, and to actually kind of execute on the product management dreams.
And how did you manage that eventually?
Yeah. So there's this saying like it's all around communication, right? So I think one of the things is that you really need to build a good networking and a good collaboration with your other counterparts. And I think that's also like one of the things that you need to acknowledge as a leader, how to work better with other colleagues, how to find the right and the correct stakeholders in the organization to work with. How do you get buy-in for your ideas? How do you help each other? And how do you build like the right relationship and the right processes to make things happen?
Miri, I'm curious, what makes you love your job? What makes you do it every day and want to stay on this track for such a long time? And I would appreciate a lot if you have any specific resources or maybe things that you are currently working on that you want to share.
I think it's a very interesting question. I also asked myself once or twice, because I'm like almost 2 decades in cybersecurity, right? And like even Yuri mentioned, I was in the endpoint for many years in the cloud and like backend endpoints, and still I don't find myself like, oh, I'm doing the same again, or it's the same. And I think that there's many reasons for that. First of all, is because cybersecurity doesn't stay still. It's like it's a very interesting industry in my opinion, because it's complex, and I feel there's like many fronts, right? On one hand we have our customers, on the other hand we have the adversary, the landscape that keep changing, then we have the technology piece, and also we have competitors, right? The industry always change, there's merge and acquisition, so you always need to keep an eye on that as well. But there's also the people that you work with, and the team members that you work with. And in general, I think that product management is fascinating, because you're busy with so many things in parallel. It can be, it can be processes, it can be a specification of a new feature, it can be working with researchers. So every day it's working with customers, doing market analysis. It is so diverse that every day is like different than the other. So even though it's like 2 decades, I still find that it's interesting for me, and I hope it will be for many more years.
One thing that I notice, again, going back to the culture in Israel about growth and everything, because in US, if you work, for example, in a big tech, it's really going to be rare for you to just leave and go to a smaller company. But in Israel, we see all the time people leave big techs and go to startups, and sometimes earning even less money. Why you think is that? Is just the urge for the challenge to build something new? Because it's hard from the US mentality sometimes. Oh, I'm gonna give up all this stability and money to go build something new where I'm not gonna earn the same amount of money, and I even know if it's gonna work or not. So where this comes from, you did something similar to that. You went to a startup.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a combination. I think it's maybe something in our mentality as well. I don't want to be stereotyped, but maybe it's also something in the Israeli mentality. we kind of I don't know, like adventures. We have the courage to do stuff. So it's very common, as you said. Like people can be 3-4 years in one company and then move to the other. I think that I mean, I can understand moving to smaller companies because I think people believe that they will be able to sometimes like move faster and make more impact in smaller company rather than the other. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it doesn't. So I think that's one aspect. The other aspect is some people believe that actually you can make good money in startup because maybe there will be, a big success. So there is some kind of bet in that as well. And also I think the fact that there's many startup in Israel as well. So you have like so many opportunities and some of them are really interesting. So it's a combination, I think, of different factor. And they also say we're the startup nation. So I think there's, something exciting as well to kind of go to a small forum, 4 or 5 people and build something new. So, big company, small company.
It's definitely part of the culture. That's
Yeah.
something that I noticed for sure.
Yeah.
I love that you tackled on the diversity of your day-to-day job, the thing that makes you want to love it more. But I was wondering, as you were saying this, do you think that this is maybe a choice of creating this diversity? Because it would be easy for someone to dive into a more routine schedule and then stick to it and then try to learn the mechanism of the job without dipping the feet into something more challenging. Do you happen to believe that this diversity of tasks that we have in our day-to-day jobs, could this be a choice in the end?
I think it depends on the type of job. Like, I don't think that that's something that I do specifically. Like when I look, as you were asking, I can kind of look, okay, is it something special to me, or I can see the same things in the colleagues as well. So I think it's something that has to do with the industry that we are working in, with the specific role of product management. So I think it's unique. And of course, because I mean, if I would have been a product management, maybe in something else, in some more smaller product, maybe it would have been less. But again, as I mentioned, the cybersecurity space is kind of more complex. Then maybe it's on steroids. But I think more or less it's this is usually, I believe that the world or the role of product management is quite diverse, in my opinion. And I've seen it like in all the companies that I've been to. And that's the beauty, I think, in being a product manager.
I'm torn right now between 2 questions. One about any success stories that you had that maybe you want to share with us. And also another one, which is a mention actually, because you mentioned it's culturally to take these risks, maybe financial risks or career risks. But could it be easier for women to take this kind of risks? And what's your opinion on the career break that majority of women are taking during their career?
Due to
Maternity or...
Yeah. So I will start with the career break. So maybe it's worth to mention that I'm a mother of 3 boys.
Congratulations.
I have an 18 years boy, which is going to enroll to the army soon. I have a 16 years boy in high school, and I have a 11-year boy in elementary school. So I'm still experiencing being a mother and also working in the tech industry. And it's doable. And it's talking about maternity leave. In each time I took like a 1 year of maternity leave. So I had this break throughout my career. It was, of course, my choice, and anyone can make his own choices. But I think what I want to convey is that yes, it is challenging many times for women, probably for men as well, to raise kids and have a career. But I think it's doable. And I think I remember early in my career, when still I didn't have kids, and I looked at one of the women manager. She already had 4 kids, and I thought to myself, wow, like how is she doing it? And 10 years after, I was in the same spot, more or less. But it always kind of inspired me. So all in all, I think it's doable. Whether these career breaks, I think that in some way, yes, they did impact my career. Maybe without it, I could have been in a different place or faster, because it's always kind of stop and then restart. But life is always about trade-off. So you always need to make the decision what's more important for you in this stage. Of course, I'm happy that I made these choices back then. But yeah. Hope it answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
So, congratulations for your kid going to the army. Proud mama moment, I know.
Hard mama moment.
Now going back to the career, we are in the turning point of this whole AI breakthrough. You know that, and there is a lot of things happening. A lot of big techs are laying off people. There are a lot of rumors that AI is going to replace some of the jobs and things like that. What is your vision on this whole change in terms of AI replacing or not replacing? When your directs, for example, comes to worry about job replacement, what do you see and what do you advise for them to focus on as far as readiness and things like that?
Yeah. So I embrace AI. I think that I feel fortunate that in my current company, we kind of took AI in many of our processes, and I actually feel that it helps very much. We utilize AI like every day, almost in every action that we do. It speeds us our work. We can move faster. I don't feel that it's like replaced. I wouldn't see, oh, now that I have AI, I can have one less person in my team. But I actually feel that we can do better. Things that could took months we can now achieve in few days time. And it doesn't replace yet, and maybe never, like the whole function of how do you need to communicate with other people, as mentioned before, to move things around, to make things happen. You still need to have all these soft skill, I would say, to help you to move forward. And yeah, I think AI is here. It's part of the reality. We cannot fight with it. On the opposite, we need to work with it. We need to leverage it. We need to make the most out of it. And I'm fascinated about where it will take us. I think it's exciting.
But following up on Yuri's question, are you worried on AI replacing some of the roles existing in cybersecurity at the moment?
Not really. I don't see like how it's like replaces, to be honest. Like, I see how we leverage, like we focus on how we leverage it, how we make our customers work, like, all the concept of autonomous SOC. How can we make it easier for customers to work for the AI to work on their behalf, to make them free their time to focus on other things, and we leverage it on how can we speed up. But I don't kind of, spend my time on worrying on how it will replace me.
It creates some sort of efficiency circle in which we want to cash in the benefits of solving things faster, which in turn might end up efficientizing this so badly that we reduce perhaps some of the roles. So this sits on a lot of people's minds at the moment, I think. In all the teams that are operating, I think everybody, I don't think there's anyone operating in an IT company that isn't wondering whether or not AI will replace their jobs, right?
Yeah.
So in your opinion, you don't think that this circle is nowhere close near?
Maybe, in other industries, but I don't see it like, immediately, like, at least not currently in my space.
Do you think AI might be leading people to burnout or quite the opposite?
No, I think actually the opposite. The opposite, because I feel that we leverage it, so it speeds us everything. It's also like, everything is like in the reach of your hands. It's like I think that it's evolves more curiosity, and you can think about things that you never thought before. Today we use it, for example, for prototyping. We use it to make UX designs quickly. Everything is like you can imagine something and you can see it few minutes after. So I think it's like open for new horizons. It's like it's opposite. It makes everything like more interesting, and it all depends like where you want to take it, right? And how do you wanna leverage it? But if you really use AI and really use your curiosity to leverage AI to your needs, then I think that can open horizon, and you can be much more innovative, and you can have more interesting discussions because you come with more data. So all in all, like I guess I feel it's like enlightening, and I'm very happy that we have AI today, and I hope that it will be used for good causes. Because again, some adversaries, like again, AI can be used by by good and the bad people, but I'm positive about AI.
Like anything good in this life,
Yeah,
be good and bad in the same time.
exactly.
What will be, Miri, your advice for women in general that are transitioning from tech, just IT in general, to cybersecurity? What they should focus on as far as skills to make this transition?
Yeah. So I think that that you always need, like, I mean, you need to become familiar with the basics of cybersecurity, understand the landscape, but also understand the customer needs. So it's like the customer needs, the landscape, and like what the industry does. So like if you come to a new thing, like you need to look at all these three angles, in my opinion, in order to kind of be successful. Yeah.
What would be some of the skills that you would look up for to hire someone in your team? Right? What would be the necessary skills that someone would have? Absolutely. Your non-negotiables.
So I think that I always like accountability and responsibility are always very important for me. Also like the ability to learn and to kind of expand your horizons, because I find it that always, like in cybersecurity, you need to build some kind of features. So you always need to expand your knowledge. It's like you never know everything. So you need to be a self-learner, you need to be accountable, you need to be responsible. And at the same time, you also need to have like good communication skills, because in product management, it's very important to know how to tell the story, how to work with your colleagues. It's a muscle that's very important. So I would say like that I'm mostly looking about these skills, and of course we can also look about leadership and how you can basically manage without authority, because that's also something very important for product management, that need to kind of work with a lot of functions. They don't have authority, but still they need to make things happen. So these are kind of the basics.
When you're hiring through the applicants, do you see that there is an equal amount of women and men applying? And if not, why do you think that is?
Yeah. So there's no equal amount. It's actually like it's quite rarely when I see women that apply. Yeah, it's like I don't have, like answer why it is. I always feel that it's sad that there's not more women in cybersecurity. I don't know if it's what's kind of, the main reason for that. But I do think that there is like more women today than there were in the past, like much more women today, like as we talked before. So I'm happy for that. But even like when I started in university, it was years back, so I don't know what's now. But there wasn't too many women. But as I mentioned before, I think that the more women there are, the more they are more vocal and more dominant, the more they're more even, podcasts like this and others, then I think that it brings the awareness. And if I can see that others can succeed, then I might, want to do it as well. So,
Yeah.
and I give you a personal example. So for me, for example, the fact that I see that, the head of the Israeli side, Michal Braverman Blumenstieg, who runs Microsoft Israel side, and she's the CTO. And the fact that in my current company, the president for product and technology, Anna Pinchuk, is leading. The fact that I see these women at the top, for me, it's inspiring. It means that one day I can get there as well, as many as other women. So I think it's very important because I'm sure that, and I've heard it as well from other women, that's inspiring, and it's gives you motivation to get there as well.
But one more, do you think this is maybe a confidence issue or a skill issue of women not applying to certain roles?
Yeah. I don't think it's a skill issue because I don't think that, we are skillless to do it, and not from what I've seen as well from my women colleagues. So I think it's around confidence. I think there's a lot of research that shows about women and confidence. It goes back to what I said in the beginning about speaking up and, feel confident, which I see more sometimes in my male colleagues. So maybe maybe that can be the reason.
I have one last question because we are close to wrap up, and this question is about career turning points, right? You've been through three major career turning points for the past 7 years or so since you used for Microsoft until you are right now. What led you to make those career turning points? In other words, it was just a better opportunity, or at that point you felt you were not growing, you were looking for a new challenge? What are the triggers in your case that led you to make those big career turning points?
Yeah. So every career turn point was where I felt that I don't have enough opportunity to grow in this place, and that led me to move to the next place. And I think that's important for everyone to own his own career. So don't expect other ones to control your career. When you feel that you cannot grow or you don't have enough opportunity or any reason, then kind of take it in your hands and decide at that point what would be the best opportunity for you. And I think that's at least what I felt, that every time when I made a decision and I moved forward and kind of analyzed, and I saw, no, this I need to probably move to another place. I think it was right, and at that time for me. So I think this reflection is very important to kind of look at your career, look at where you are, look at where you want to be, and kind of navigate to that point.
I was about to ask earlier, where do you get your inspiration from? And you already mentioned some of the names that inspired you, but just briefly, do you follow any shows, any podcasts besides our own, of course, online that maybe would be interesting to highlight to the audience?
I don't want to say specific name, but I do see like a lot of podcasts on management. I feel that it's like very helpful for me. And like in general, I think that there's so much information out there. So just find like where you want to grow and just invest in it. So for me, it's a lot around management. So I follow all kind of influencer. I like to see podcasts. I always feel that it can be short sometimes, but I feel that it's like eye opener. So that's one point of inspiration. And the other, like I say, it's my colleagues, it's the people in the organization that I look at and I learn from. And it's a lot of, sometimes a lot about observation. Like if you want to look, if you want to learn, so sometimes like put on the observer hat and kind of learn from their behavior, analyze, and also reflect on yourself as well.
To close this up with one last question from my side, I'm curious about what you're most excited for 2026.
So I'm very excited. Like personally, I'm excited because my team grow. I grew in my own career, and I feel that I have a strong team. We can achieve great things together. So for me, just the day-to-day job that we do is exciting me. The fact that we will be able to achieve what we want to achieve, that's for me is enough, and it's exciting enough.
Well, Miri, thank you so much for making the time. I know that you were battling this week some illness, and I'm glad that you are feeling better, that you were able to make it. Thank you for your time. It was great seeing you again. Hopefully, we can catch up next time that I'm in Israel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for you. It was a pleasure for me to be here and continue to do the great job that you're doing with this podcast. It's very important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miri.
All right, everyone. This is a wrap for episode 12. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have a lot of new great things to come this year. Thank you so much.